G'day guys, here's the behind the scenes video of our 2021 Halloween light display. Firstly, we'll show you a quick video of our display, how it's been running, and then we'll go into some details. Guys, this is the 2021 Halloween light display. We'll give you a quick walkthrough and try and show you some of the props and how we're controlling them. There's not a lot changed from previous years, so hopefully you'll see our new P5 outdoor panel for our Tune 2. We're using our existing arches. We've got our large P5 matrix panel in the centre of the yard there. Over to the right, you can see up on the house there, we've got our centre rosa wreath. We've got our house outlines. We've got a modular matrices along the front there. Beside the rosa wreaths, we've got a mother of all wreath. What else we got going on? Our little tombstones on the right, and new for this year, what we're referring to as our spider tree, which is utilising our mega tree pole, and we've attached some spiders to it. So here's our outdoor P5 panel Tune 2 sign. We did a separate video on that one. It's quite simple. It's just using a colour light card and a Raspberry Pi, and just mounted in a quick, simple timber box, nothing special there. There's our air cedar arches. We've done another videos on them years ago. Mounted beside them is our two new for this year, our AFL Designs Coro singing faces, which we painted. Now they're just mounted with a couple of stakes behind them with some cable ties, nice and simple. Behind that we have our large P5 outdoor matrix sign. We've done a video again last year on that one, so probably link back and watch that. Beside that, we've got our two vertical fog machines. We'll touch base on them in a minute. Back onto our house, pretty similar to previous years. We've got our existing house outlines, which is conduit with pixels, or holes in it for the pixels. Up in the centre there, you can see our rosa wreath, then each side mother of all wreath, and some modular matrix panels, which are just held on with clips. In the centre, we've just got our matrix trees, which we utilise for Christmas. And new for this year, you can see they're large mega Wasco spiders, which have worked out really well. You can see we're using a lot of brick clips, like previous years, to mount a lot of our props with some screws. Those our house outlines are just held in there with a brick clip and a cable tie. As you can see above, the wreaths held in there with a wall plug and a screw, as well as the brick clips, just to hold it in place when you lift it up into position. Now those wreaths have got a GE skins over them, which can be a little bit tricky to fit and align the holes we have found. Up above, for our rosa wreath, a couple of aluminium sections which are bolted into the back of them, the same as the earlier mother of all wreath. And we've got brick clips up there, so it means you can sort of lift it up into position quite easily, and then just got some screw plugs into the brickwork just to secure it in place to make sure it doesn't fall down. These are the tombstones from a couple of years ago. They were just white Coro painted with a little bit of paint. They work out really well. They just got stakes behind them in the ground. And new for this year, we've got our spider tree, which is utilising our mega tree pole. And you can see we've bolted some aluminium angle using some U bracket bolts, similar to what we did to a snowflake tree a couple of years ago. And we've just bolted the props to it. It's been working out fairly well so far. Try to keep it nice and simple. And we've got the two smaller spiders, and then above of that we've got the flying bat from AFL Designs, again cut locally in Australia from Troy from Extreme Lighting Displays, the same as the Bosco props that we've utilised. What else we got going on? New for this year, everyone probably interested in, is the DMX moving heads. These are the so-called waterproof outdoor Chinese moving heads. Now we didn't move them up on our roof. We're utilising moving head stands, which are based off a portable hole design. We'll talk about the moving heads probably in a separate video. We see we've got some on the other side, a couple of moving heads. You can see the control box open there. I'll show you some of that in a minute. Into the centre of our yard, excuse the messy cords, that's this afternoon's job to tidy that up. We've got a couple of our vertical fog machines. Now these are just DMX cheap fogging machines. They work really effective. They just link together in a really cheap, nasty box, which we just uncover before our display, obviously. And they've just got a vent, a hole for the cords to push in. Nothing fancy with that. They link together. You can sort of see the cables running across our driveway. Back to the moving heads on the other side of our display, we see we've made some brackets and bolted them to the existing fence posts. It's tucked under these covers. We just put those to some frames we made up and bolted them underneath. They're just an outdoor waterproof speaker cover. Well, I don't think they're sold as waterproof, but they seem to be working okay. I wouldn't put them on indoor moving heads, but these moving heads have been apparently waterproof. Time will tell. We've got those modular matrices, a couple of floodlights, our wall trees, which we've used for a few years now. You can see the paint's starting to wear off the timber frames. We keep saying we're going to remake these things, hopefully again next year, and they've just leaned back up against the wall with a strap holding them down. Those props have been working great for the last few years. So how are we controlling all this? Similar to what we've used previous years, we're using a Falcon Pixel controller. We're using a Raspberry Pi with FPP as a show player. You can see it's got the Sound Blaster card for the audio output there. So how the data works is it's got the show player, sends the data out just to a cheap switch, then into the Falcon F48 controller, and each one of those Ethernet cables sends the data only out to the various boxes in the yard. So the audio is Sound Blaster card into just the cheap FM transmitter, which we found working fairly well. Excuse the cable mess. We did relocate the antenna just to remove it outside because it's sort of built up in that area to help broadcast out in the yard. And what else we got? Beside that box in that enclosure, we're just utilising that for a little bit of power management. There's nothing special in that. Just to keep it away from our main controller. Just a bit of a look there. So all those Ethernet cables are then running down to that absolute mess of cables we've got to tidy up across the driveway. Out to say, here's one that goes out to us, the differential boards. Now, you've probably seen our videos on these before. These are just an ammo box. They've been working fairly well for us in our yards. Cut the power supplies, cut the differential receiver boards. Now, this one's got a little bit of power injection in it, which we aren't using for our Halloween display. We use it because we use these set up for our main Christmas light display. Now, we've got those differential boxes within the ammo crates scattered around our yards, right next to our props. Seems to work for us. There's a couple of different ways you can do things in this hobby. Now, a little bit different. We're using a couple of CG 1500 boxes for these mother or wreath props, left and right. Again, they've got the GE skins on them. They've just got a 1 power supply and differential receiver board in them. Our props are all 12 volts, by the way. And that seems to work really well for us. We can leave the cables all hooked up to those props. So all we've got to do is connect some power and the Ethernet cable back to our main controller. So it makes it a quick, easy setup. On the other side of our yard here, we have our other Falcon Pixel controller. We've added this one this year. We're running the DMX for those moving heads out of this Pixel controller for these ones. The main reason why we've added this is mainly for our Christmas light display. We're adding some more props over to the side of the yard. It's total overkill, but it would just make cable management a little bit easier for us. So that's just a quick overview of our 2021 Halloween light display. Now, everyone's probably going to have lots of questions. Feel free to put them in the comments. We'll try and do another separate video regarding the moving heads because everybody likes to hear about them, I suppose. So if there's anyone who's got any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys.